Wars unleash a torrent of violence and destruction, tearing apart societies and inflicting immeasurable suffering on individuals and communities. The battlefield becomes a nightmarish landscape where the finest qualities of humanity are overshadowed by the brutality of conflict. Imagine a realm of chaos, where lives are lost in staggering numbers, and where the echoes of gunfire and explosions reverberate relentlessly. Welcome to Moments in History, where we cover your favorite parts of history. And in today's video, we are going to look over some events that led to World War. But before that, we need to have some information on World War and wars in general. So let us get introduced to wars first. From the ancient battlefields of Greece to the epic clashes of World War I, wars have been an enduring feature of human history. They reflect a universal human desire for power, resources, and dominance, often intertwined with the creation of ego-driven narratives. This yearning for more is not exclusive to humans. Even in the animal kingdom, conflicts arise over territory, mating rights, and scarce resources. It is this intrinsic characteristic that has fueled wars throughout time, leading to devastating consequences for both humans and animals alike. In the ancient world, the Greeks engaged in numerous wars that shaped their civilization. The Peloponnesian War, fought between Athens and Sparta, demonstrated the inherent human drive for supremacy and control. It was a clash of ideologies, power struggles, and territorial ambitions, echoing the patterns that would later emerge on a global scale. Interestingly, the connection between wars among animals and those involving humans reveals fundamental similarities. In the animal kingdom, territorial disputes often erupt into fierce battles. Lions fiercely defend their prides, birds engage in aerial skirmishes, and ants wage war over resources. These conflicts serve as a reminder that the instinctual desire for survival and dominance transcends species boundaries. As humans evolved, conflicts between animals and humans emerged. In the early stages of civilization, human tribes fought to protect their territories, secure hunting grounds, and ensure the survival of their kin. The struggle for resources and the desire to expand one's influence often led to clashes between human communities and the natural world. This intersection of conflicts, fueled by survival instincts, set the stage for the escalating conflicts that would shape history. Over time, as civilizations grew, the stakes of warfare intensified. The rise of nation-states brought about more complex and larger-scale conflicts. Nations sought to expand their territories, secure valuable resources, and assert their dominance. Ego-driven narratives emerged, wherein each nation believed in its own exceptionalism and superiority, fueling a desire for conquest and supremacy. This relentless pursuit of power and prestige among nations gradually brought the world closer to the brink of a cataclysmic conflict. The events leading to World War I epitomized this pattern. The intricate web of alliances, fueled by nationalistic fervor, intertwined with territorial disputes and economic rivalries. Each nation's ego and belief in its own superiority contributed to a dangerous climate of competition, suspicion, and fear. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary in 1914 served as a spark that ignited the powder keg of simmering tensions, setting the stage for the devastating conflict that would follow. In general, the desire for power, the creation of ego-driven narratives, and the pursuit of resources are characteristic elements that drive wars. This pattern is not limited to human conflicts, but extends to the animal kingdom as well. The escalation of conflicts from ancient Greece to the global stage of World War I reflects the universal nature of these underlying motives. Understanding these dynamics allows us to reflect on the destructive consequences of war and the importance of pursuing peaceful resolutions in our shared world. Now, with the general idea of wars in general, let's get a bit deeper and talk about some internal events that ultimately led to the first greatest battle of human history. Assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria on June 28, 1914, was a pivotal event that ignited a series of complex political and military actions, ultimately leading to the outbreak of World War I. As the heir to the Austro-Hungarian Empire, Franz Ferdinand's assassination in Sarajevo, Bosnia, by a Serbian nationalist named Gavrilo Princip triggered a chain reaction that unleashed the forces of nationalism, imperialism, and militarism that had been simmering across Europe. The event served as a catalyst, shattering the delicate balance of power and alliances among European nations. Austria-Hungary, blaming Serbia for the assassination, issued a series of demands known as the July Ultimatum, which were intentionally designed to be rejected and provide a pretext for war. When Serbia did not fully comply, Austria-Hungary declared war on July 28, 1914. The alliance system then came into play, with a cascade of declarations of war among the major European powers. Russia, bound by treaty to Serbia, mobilized its forces, prompting Germany to declare war on Russia. France, honoring its alliance with Russia, entered the conflict, and Germany, seeking to swiftly defeat France, invaded Belgium, violating its neutrality and drawing Britain into the war. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, while seemingly localized, became a fuse that ignited the deeply intertwined web of alliances and rivalries, plunging Europe into a devastating conflict that spread across the globe. The war, marked by trench warfare, technological advancements, and staggering casualties, lasted for 4 years and reshaped the political landscape of the world. It laid the foundation for future conflicts, altered the balance of power, and set the stage for geopolitical tensions that would lead to World War II. The ripple effects of that fateful assassination reverberated throughout history, reminding us of the interconnectedness of events and the catastrophic consequences that can emerge from a single act of violence. Nationalism and rivalries. In the early 20th century, the rise of nationalism and intensifying rivalries among European powers set the stage for World War I. As countries embraced fervent loyalty to their nations, a sense of pride and territorial ambition took hold. This surge of nationalism led to increased competition for resources, colonies, and influence. Meanwhile, rivalries between Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Russia further heightened tensions. Germany aimed to challenge Britain's naval dominance. Austria-Hungary sought to control its diverse territories, and Russia aimed to protect Slavic interests and expand in the Balkans. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary in 1914 triggered a series of events that exposed the fragile alliances and deep-seated rivalries. Austria-Hungary, supported by Germany, issued demands to Serbia, escalating the crisis. Russia's defense pact with Serbia led to its mobilization, and Germany subsequently declared war. France and Britain, bound by their own alliances, were drawn into the conflict. A collision of nationalism and rivalries created a volatile environment where any incident could ignite a devastating war. With citizens passionately supporting their leaders and rallying behind national flags, the world was propelled into a conflict of unprecedented scale and destruction. Ultimately, the confluence of nationalistic aspirations, territorial disputes, and intricate alliances plunged the world into a transformative and devastating conflict. Alliance system. In the early 20th century, Europe was divided into two major alliance systems: the Triple Entente and the Central Powers. The Triple Entente consisted of France, Russia, and later Britain, while the Central Powers included Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy, which later switched sides. These alliances were formed as a result of growing rivalries and a desire to protect national interests. The Triple Entente was motivated by concerns over Germany's expanding power and territorial ambitions. France, having experienced a humiliating defeat in the Franco-Prussian War, sought alliances to deter Germany from launching any future attacks. Russia, on the other hand, aimed to counter Austria-Hungary's influence in the Balkans and protect its access to warm water ports. Britain, primarily driven by a fear of German naval supremacy, joined the Triple Entente to safeguard its imperial interests. The Central Powers, led by Germany, aimed to challenge the existing balance of power. Germany sought to assert its dominance in Europe and expand its influence through militaristic means. Austria-Hungary, facing rising nationalism within its diverse empire, sought Germany's support to maintain its control over the Balkans and suppress regional independence movements. Tensions reached a breaking point with the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary by a Serbian nationalist in 1914. This event triggered a chain reaction due to the alliance system in place. Austria-Hungary, backed by Germany, issued an ultimatum to Serbia, which led to a declaration of war. The alliance commitments compelled other nations to enter the conflict, escalating it into a global war. The alliance system directly contributed to the outbreak of World War I by turning a localized conflict into a broader conflagration. The intricate web of alliances meant that an attack on one nation would lead to the involvement of its allies, multiplying the scale of the conflict. Imperialism and colonial rivalries. Imperialism and colonial rivalries were internal events that significantly contributed to the outbreak of World War I. As the major European powers embarked on a quest for overseas colonies and resources, tensions heightened and rivalries intensified. The late 19th and early 20th centuries witnessed a scramble for colonies, with nations such as Britain, France, Germany, and Italy competing to establish their dominance in Africa, Asia, and other parts of the world. This race for colonies not only fueled economic competition, but also stoked nationalistic fervor and a desire for geopolitical influence. As territories were acquired and spheres of influence expanded, conflicts arose over disputed regions, trade routes, and access to resources. The competition for colonies and the perceived need to protect and expand their empires created a volatile environment where even a minor incident could spark a larger conflict. This is exemplified by the Moroccan crisis of 1905 and 1911, where tensions between Germany and France over control of Morocco nearly escalated into a full-scale war. The imperialist ambitions and colonial rivalries not only divided nations but also entangled them in a web of alliances, further exacerbating tensions and ultimately leading to the devastating eruption of World War I. The Balkan Crisis. The Balkan crisis played a pivotal role in triggering World War I. The Balkan region, with its turbulent history and ethnic divisions, was a breeding ground for tension and conflict. As the Ottoman Empire weakened, the desire for self-determination and territorial expansion among the Balkan states intensified. In 1912 and 1913, the Balkan League, composed of Serbia, Greece, Bulgaria, and Montenegro, rose to challenge Ottoman rule. The battles were fierce and victories hard-fought, leading to the expulsion of the Ottomans from the region. However, the Balkan states' differing territorial ambitions soon sparked new conflicts among themselves. The stage was set for a larger confrontation. It was in this context that the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary in Sarajevo took place. As the news spread, tensions reached a boiling point. Austria-Hungary blamed Serbia and issued an ultimatum, setting off a chain reaction. The alliances that had been forged in the wake of the Balkan crisis now bound nations together, and the countdown to a full-scale war began. The Balkan crisis exposed the fragility of the European balance of power and the intricate web of alliances that could turn a localized incident into a global catastrophe. It was a catalyst that, with the added fuel of long-standing rivalries and unresolved tensions, ignited the flames of World War I. Well, that ends some of the major internal events that led to World War I. I hope this video was informative and it helped you. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to like the video. Also hit that sub button and stay tuned. See ya!